Hello, Just Jax here and welcome to my channel. Today, whilst we are in the month of Halloween and whilst my girls have been ever so patient, they're still coming to an understanding of what I'm actually doing. I'm not disappearing off for work during the days anymore. I just do nights. I'm here, this is my work now. So they're still trying to work out what exactly I do when I am up this corner here, and they are ever so patient because they just want to play since I'm here and do more fun things in their eyes. And I have promised them as soon as we've done, we're going to have some immense plays. In the meantime, I thought I'd make them something. I've made them loads of toys before and lots of different things to play with. I thought, how about we make something Halloween themed for them? So I've got some odd scraps of white material and a little bit of black. I also, each time they take a toy apart, I rescue the squeaker if they don't get to it first. So I can use that again to stick in a new toy for them. So we've got a couple of squeakers. For those of you who don't know, so I mention them fairly regularly, I have two girls, little Marley, a young black lab at the moment, just over a year, bless her, and big girl Nova. She's a black and white girl, a St Bernard cross retriever, cross Samoyed. Both absolutely gorgeous, and mine and my other half's worlds. They mean everything to us. So, to treat them for being so kind and patient, I'm going to make them something. I think one will be a bone, because they're not going to be overly complicated. I'd usually whip these things up on the sewing machine, but at the moment I haven't got a good enough setup to record myself on the sewing machine. I need the camera to be perhaps more over that way, looking in this way. And, well, I don't know how the sound's going to work, because it's very echoey in the kitchen. With the sewing machine going off, it might be over loud, I'm not too sure. We'll have to have a play one day to try and get that set up. But I do hand sewing as well, so I'll be hand sewing these. I'm unsure yet as to whether I'll speed up those moments for you, because you'll still see everything, but it'll be faster, because the hand sewing, depending on how big these end up being, can take quite a bit of time. So let's think how we're going to do this. So obviously we're going to have probably about half of this for the bone, and then that will leave the rest. So we'll do a bone and a skull. Sew some eyes on and make a little skull, and I've got a big bag over here of stuffing, so we can pad them out for them. I'll put that back over there for the moment. So let's pick. We'll flip this inside out to begin with. So these are just going to be little simple toys to knock up. I'll do some more, like I say, when I've got the sewing machine set up and the camera angle right for it, I'll do some more complicated ones, because I'd like to do a little, all white, but patchwork with reverse seams. So all the seams are on the outside, so it's a bit textural. But for now, just something little, something simple. So let's just chop this in half to begin with, maybe a little bit longer. Let's put that over there for now. So what have we got? And we are, where are my pins? So they are going to help right now, even though I don't tend to use the pins when I'm hand sewing. They will help hold it together at least while I'm cutting it. That'll do. There's enough of them there for us to work with. So I can't remember where I've left all my other pins. They're in that drawer somewhere, though it is in dire need of a bit of a sort out. So let's just, for cutting's sake, pin this together a little bit in roughly where we're going to have the bone. Now we're going to be roughly here, roughly here. We come out. And I like to go for a bit of a knobbly bone. It's not going to be one of your perfect, here's a nice circle here, here's a nice circle here, so on and so forth. It's going to be a little bit, I make them doggy pastry bones every now and again as a treat. And I like to make them a bit janky then as well. So I think something like that, maybe put a couple more in. A couple more in. This is really nice thick material, so this will last a little bit before they tear it open. And I know, even though I'm making one each, Marley, bless her, she's notorious. She just adores Nova. Nova is her idol. And Marley so desperately wants Nova to want everything that Marley has, but Nova's not like that, bless her heart. Nova's, you know, if she thinks Marley wants it, she'll just let Marley have it. And Marley really wants her to take it back, so I'm pretty sure within a matter of moments they'd have swapped round quite a few times. So let's just cut out roughly a bone shape. I'll bring this up into the middle a little bit, so I do tend to end up slipping back out of shot. Like I say, these haven't got to be perfect. That's the fun thing when you're doing something like this. You can make it all a bit winky wonky. Now what I could have done was taken those turn-ups away, but we'll just work around them. Trying my best to stay focused and stay in the middle there. So that will be our bone. We'll probably put the smaller one in the bone, maybe up one end, and then the skull. We'll do that one in a second. So these might end up, depending on how long it takes to sew, they might end up two separate ones. So we'll keep, I don't tend to always keep, you know, correct colour threads going, depending on what I'm working on, but I will, on this occasion, I'll be good. We'll go white for white, black for black. I'll save that for when we start to put the eyes on. Oh my mic's come unpinged. This is a rather heavy hoodie and it eventually drags everything back. Well, it's a heavy hooded hoodie and it tends to eventually just slip down my back when I've got the zip undone. Plus, this is a nice thing to do. It's nice to buy your girls or your boys toys. If you end up with an old top or an old pair of socks, my goodness, I stuffed some socks the other day and I didn't even sew them or anything. I just stuffed some old socks. I I just stuffed some old socks, didn't even put a squeaker in them, stuffed some old socks, tied a knot in the end. It was the best toy ever. The girls absolutely loved it. I had a shop bought one to give them. And that to give, you know, just a stuffed sock for the other one so that they didn't, well, in the hope that Marley wouldn't take Nova's toy. Nova wanted the stuffed sock. She didn't want her toy with a squeaker in it. She wanted just the stuffed sock. So, you know, bless their hearts. It's kind of like kids with boxes. You can go out and buy a most extravagant toy and they'll end up playing more with the cardboard box than they will the extravagant toy, which is brilliant. If you've got a kiddie that does that, fantastic. They are going to be creative. They're using their initiative. It's brilliant. So even though you'll feel disappointed that you wasted a load of money on a toy, they'll go back to the toy eventually, but let them have fun with that box. It's always cool to see what a kid can think up when they're just left to their own devices. And there's no harm in it, it's just a cardboard box. So we're just going to go all the way around. I mean, I started in a bit of a funny place. I should have started across here somewhere because it'll be even easier to turn inside out and stuff. But that's alright. We've started where we've started, so well, I mean, we can always get to that point and then double back, because I'll have to stitch this. Well, I won't. It depends how much. I don't expect these to last very long. They're just little toys for them to play with, pull apart, rip the stuffing out of, which they really love doing. So it hasn't got to be the most well put together piece. It's just got to hold itself together long enough for them to get a couple of plays out. And then it would have done its job. But yeah, you can see this isn't going to take this isn't going to be the longest sewing job that I've had. But you could have this done. I mean, this would be good when I get the sewing machine set up. That'd be good for some little YouTube shorts, because you can whip things up so quickly on the sewing machine. I mean, I'm fairly quick hand sewing, but on the machine, a 20-30 minute job can be done in 5. It's fantastic, and it's not even an expensive one that I've got. I just picked up, I had quite a few sewing jobs, I still do, and I couldn't get through hand sewing them all. Some of them needed to be hand sewed, so depending on the material of the job and whatnot, but a lot of them I could just whip up on the machine quickly for people. So it was a long overdue investment, but I only got a relatively cheap guy to begin with. I think it's a brother, which is very good. It is a brother. Brothers are very good, so even the cheap ones will take you a long way. But even if you are starting sewing for the first time, you can even get ones, I'm pretty sure, because I years ago got a little cheapie that's like perhaps about so big, a little number like that for, I mean, back then I think it was around sort of 20, so it's probably, and this is going back a good few years, so it's probably less than 50, we'll say. You can pick up a little sewing machine just to get started and have a play with, and you don't have to invest in a whole lot. You can just get that, get a couple of threads, a couple of spools of thread. Move you out the way because you're just going to keep getting caught. We don't really need you now anyway. And then if you've got literally any scraps of material, so old socks, everyone has got some old or odd socks somewhere that are just, you know, old holey socks. You can even practice on them, do a bit of repair work. You know, old clothes falling apart, any bit of old material you can then turn into something or have a little play with. So you don't even have to go out and spend lots of money on expensive strips of material from the shop. You can, I quite often end up doing that, using what I've got. I get donated quite a few random items of clothing, and ones that I can use and, you know, do other clothes relate things with, I do. And ones that I can't, they're either, they're paint stricken, or holes are in too awkward of a place to just outright repair. I'll turn them into other things, so they'll always have a new lease on life. So thankfully I've got a couple of decent individuals, decent friends in my life and family members who will always send me their broken bits or their things they can no longer do anything with or just don't want. Then I can turn them into something. And bless their hearts, they're always sort of, they always say to me, you don't have to accept this old tat or this old rubbish. It's like, no, you're doing me a favour too, because I always tell them, each time you give me something, that's something I don't have to buy to turn into something else. Which one are you? Now you've got yourself all twisted up. Let's untwist you. One of the best things to do with sewing as well, hand sewing or machine sewing, is be patient when you get a knot or a twiddle in your thread. You quite often will, and if you try to just pull it, it will become a knot even if it isn't. So try to resist the urge to just pull and have a little twiddle and work out instead, because every now and again I get this. I mean, I get this because of the way I sew. Now this is going to, serious sewers out there will go absolutely balmy at the fact that I double my thread. So I thread it on, send it all the way through to the halfway point, and then knot the end. And serious sewers, and even I was taught how to do it properly, will only send it through once. So they'll send the thread through, have one end piece all the way over here, and the other end piece, instead of pulling it to meet it, they'll leave it up here, so you've always got to be aware of holding that bit. But I double thread in pretty much all my projects. It's just a little bit sturdier, I find, and I quite often use it as a trick to tie the end off. Because when I was little and learning to sew from my nan and grans for the first time, I'd always end up pulling it too hard initially, and the knot would just slip right through everything. So I was always having issue with that first anchoring point. I'm just being a heavy-handed kid, to be honest. I'm still a bit of a heavy-handed adult, but I've learnt to control that a little bit when needed. So that's when I learned myself and decided myself I was going to do the double, because then it's kind of like that. You get left, it's just one line going through, but you get left with a knot at the end, and you can slip it between the two, and then it doesn't matter how heavy-handed you are, that piece ain't pulling out of that thread, of that material. And then you can just sew to your heart's content. Right, ending up being a bit more thorough than I need be with this. I could do a far looser stitch all the way around and it wouldn't really matter, because this is just a little easy come, easy go toy. I won't be going around again. If I wanted to make something a bit more long lasting for them, because I've done that before as well, I've like doubled up the layers of material depending on what material I'm using, and then sewn it more than once to get a real solid seam for them. Hello, young Marley. I've got little Marley come to visit me. I think she knows, well, I think both the girls know I'm making them something, because whenever the bag of stuffing comes out, it's usually because I'm either fixing one of their toys that they really like or making them something new. Nova is currently, big girl is currently chilling upstairs with my other half, keeping him company. And little girl Marley, she was up there with him for a little bit, but she'll quite often come down and keep me company, which is rather sweet. Get you out because you are gonna be a little naughty catchable piece. So we'll go as far as we can with this bit, then tie it off, get another bit of thread. Might even speed up a little bit, because like I say, I don't need to be as thorough as I am. I've also got a project in the oven at the moment, oddly enough. I won't say what it is right now because I'm not sure what order these projects are going to be uploaded. It's sort of a first come first serve approach, and I think no, I can get you in there again. I can. I think these will probably end up going before that project, so I'm not going to mention it just yet. But I can mention that it's in the oven because I've got a check on it. I can also mention that I've never put this particular combination of ingredients in the oven before. They're definitely nothing edible. Not anymore. So I'm not too sure how long, what temperature. So even if it is a good idea, full stop. So I'm going to have to, I've got it on long and low, so like very, very low. It's such an odd combination of bits to put in an oven. But I knew there was no point in Googling how long, what temperature, if you can even do this with the particular combination of ingredients that I use. But I tried the next closest thing and that didn't bring up any results either. So, like, cool. It's alright, trial and error, it's what we like. Been in there for, what's the time? About three or so hours. And it is working, but I've got it on really, really low. It's like on 60. I turn it up and down between 75, well, between 50 and 75. So if I know I'm going to be working on a piece of project for quite a while and there's a chance I'm going to forget it, and it's on no fan, because I know fan makes things hotter quicker, and I need this to dry out from the outside, well, all the way through, shall we say. So I will be giving that a check in a second. Or perhaps get around this bit, because I know it's not going to magically suddenly dry or crisp on the edges or anything while I'm doing this. It's taken this long so far, and I was checking it roughly every half hour, and it was having little to no progress until about an hour and a half in. So I know I don't have to worry about it too much. I just can't remember if I turned the oven up to 70, 75 before I started this, or I put it on the low setting again and have it around the 50 mark. So I'll have a little look-see in a moment, just to make sure, because there are other elements to that in there that do have a risk of, potentially have a risk of melting. They shouldn't on such a low heat on a no fan setting, but you just don't know. Well, I don't anyway. I think there's probably a chance. Again, I've never tried melting anything like that, and I'm not trying to melt anything now, I'm just trying to dry it out. In theory, this is a good idea, and so far, in practicality, it's looking like a good idea. I just got to make sure I don't forget about it And if I disappear for longer than, I'd say longer than 45 minutes for any reason, either taking the girls out or whatever, I'll be turning it off for sure. I'll be turning it off. It should be safe to leave in the oven because that'll help dry it out a little bit more. But I'll definitely be turning it off. I'm not leaving it unattended for any long period of time. We have got a thread that has slipped out. Sink. Because again, when you're sewing like this, you're constantly going around and around. The thread does like twist around on itself, creating like a plait. Sometimes that means one piece gets left behind because it's no longer central. Keep my hairs out my eyes as well. My hair is tied back because it's a few different lengths at the moment. I don't have a fringe. I don't really like fringes on myself, but I do have a few stray hairs that just want to keep flopping in the face. They do irk me. That's why I don't like a fringe. I don't like anything in my eyes when I'm working. That's also why I have my hair tied back so often. I love long hair. I just don't like it being in the way when I'm doing something. I'll get you out of the way now as well, because you're just another object to catch on. Make sure we're still central with the thread, with our double thread there. All you serious sewers. What have you caught on? You. Get rid of you as well then. And yes, I still have this creaky chair. In the future, hard work and luck provided I start to make a little bit of money from these endeavours, other than the projects that I sell, I will be investing in a chair that does not creak every time I move. A new camera, because this one is good to start off, but as you all have witnessed so far, I've had a lot of trial and error with it, and it's very naughty when it comes to focusing. It just doesn't seem to have, it's meant to be autofocus, and as I've mentioned in another video, it seems to be able to autofocus everything that I randomly shot, which was like the tiles in the bathroom, my girls, the floor, my foot on the floor, my foot on the wall. It seemed to, oh yeah, and white, black, whatever colour, it seemed to be able to focus. Are you going the right way or the wrong way? But can it focus on bird's eye view when I'm trying to create? No, it cannot for some reason, or at very least not stay in focus. It quite often I'll start in focus, and then the second that I move anything, even if I put it back in there, I've tried turning the camera on and off again so it can refocus, without moving anything. But it just doesn't seem to want to do it. So it's a good little camera to start out. It's not good for any close-up work, which some of the things I'm doing would be better being close-up. Like, I only need it to cover such a big space when I'm doing canvases. When I'm doing littler things like this, it could do with being able to just say have this sort of shot. So I will be investing in a better camera with focus options, and one that can shoot much closer, or at least with better focus options, so when I'm editing I can zoom in then and crop it down to just the bit you need to focus on. But this is alright for the time being. This is alright to get me started. Because everyone's got to start somewhere. Sometimes when you start something new, you have to improvise a little bit along the way. I've considered using my phone, but again, it's one of those things, so I'm not very techie. So I don't know, I've never tried recording anything prolonged with it. I don't know how long it can shoot for. I don't know if it'll just keep recording until there's no more space, or if it only does... So I tried to look online, but again, I couldn't find any direct answer. It just told me how to record with my camera. So, well, I'm not that bad. I know how to record with it. I just want to find out how long it can record for. And I thought that was a simple enough question to put into Google, but it doesn't seem to register really the question that's being asked. Like I said, it just kept giving me answers of, this is how you record. It's like, I know how to record. I just need to know for how long, because if it's just 10 minutes, that's okay, but then I'll know, do 10 minutes worth and stop and start again. If I don't, I'll tie this bit off soon. About now, before it gets so short. It's too tricky to do. I'm going to pause for just a second while I check. Oh, we should be good, shouldn't we? I mean, I can see the oven from here, from its side, but I can't see in the oven from here. I'm going to be brave. I think we're going to be okay to continue, because it won't just readjust my top again, so you'll hear a bit of funny faffing with the mic. I'm going to at very least get the sewing done and trust that that is fine in the oven. And if not, like I say, I can say that much at least, it's a Halloween themed project that's in there at the moment. So worst case scenario, and it ends up burnt or well done, it'll add to its charm. So it won't be the end of the world. I just don't want to destroy my oven in the process. But I have made a foil tray for it, so I haven't got a wrecker tray I bake with. I've made a little foil tray for it. So if anything does go wrong, I will show you all in that piece of works video, and be honest with what I did. So I didn't tell them so far anyway, because I made this decision. I gave it, I can't remember if I said, I gave it a week to dry naturally, and it was barely drying at the edges because it was so saturated. To the risk of it starting to grow life of its own. I was like, well, we don't want that. I don't want it to be that gross. I want there to be a chance that this could be a bit more of a longer life piece of work, and not just made it and sent it off again on its way. There'd be no reason why it couldn't become an ornament. Could become an ornament, could go up on my shelf with some of the other bits that I've made. But only if it dries out and it is safe to do so. If it's going to grow life of its own, I can't consider it to be safe. You're getting little lumps and bumps everywhere because this just doesn't want to go through flush. So it doesn't necessarily matter. This is a easy come, easy go project. I just wanted to make my girls a little something for their patience, to reward them. So I don't want to keep rewarding them with treats, especially Marley. She'd take the treats forevermore, but Labrador that she is, she's incredibly food obsessed, and she'll eat to the point of making herself sick, and then she'll probably eat that if she was given the chance. So we've got to keep an eye on her with that sort of thing. Don't want her to be an unhealthy little girl. She's very healthy right now and we want to keep it that way. I reckon we are going to be bold enough to get this bone finished completely. Hey little girl, working on something for you and Nova. Take those out now, we don't need them there. We'll only need a little hole to work with. We'll take this around the majority of the curve of this knobbly bit of the bone. Turn it right way around. Pop a little stuffing up the end. Get the squeaker in. Then I will pause there. Crack on. I'll probably put these up as two separate ones because I'm trying to be aware of how long they are. I know some people like I like a long video, especially if it's something I'm interested in or I've just got on in the background that I'm listening to, but I know some people need, and especially in this day and age, things are a little bit more condensed so they can actually see it through to the other end if they're only partially interested or it's something they're trying to get into. So I am going to try and make some shorter projects. That's the thing when you're trying to be as honest as I am with this stuff, and I want to show you every step of the way, things that go wrong, things that go right, where the mind changes, where the mind doesn't. The videos are quite often long because that's a long process. I cut out things in between that are not to do with the work or not to do with me doing something to the work, like when I'm painting. I won't leave it recording so you can watch paint dry. I just won't do anything more to that canvas until it's dry, and then I'll start recording again. Right, I think go once more and then tie it off. And we'll have a look, see what we got when we turn it the right way around. Right, got our little knobbly bobbly bone. There should be enough room there to put a squeaker. I do have a bag of them in my drawer, so it doesn't necessarily have to be one of these. And it doesn't necessarily have to have a squeaker in it, but I don't want either of them to feel left out. I have my bag of squeakers within reach. Can't quite see from up here. I'm pretty sure they're down there. I'm going to put them in that one. Underneath all of that. Let's roll with what we got. Right. The stuffing. Can I hang this anywhere? Let's just pull a load out. That'll be more than enough. Let's fluff it up and start poking it down there. On the topic of bones, I've got to get some out of the freezer before I forget about that as well. We'll make this fairly stuffed out well. Tell you what, we might go squeak free with this one. We'll put the squeak in the skull. So I know if there's a squeak in there, it's gonna probably die quicker because they'll want to get the squeaker out. So one can live a little bit longer than the other one. But we'll make this one the more tightly stuffed one. What we'll do to finish off is, I believe it's called a reverse stitch, but I always call it a teddy bear stitch because the first time I learnt it was when making bears. We are getting a nice bone there. And I have an itchy foot that I can't reach because I've got shoes on. Right, we're going to need more thread than that, so we'll take you off. You're not going to get the job done. Oops. Oops again. Lost my ability to tie a knot temporarily. Right. Now we're going to start up there on the underside. And what we do for this is we come over here, try and keep it in line, and then come over here. We'll do that a few times, then we'll pull it tight so you can see. Or is it called the invisible stitch? I think it's called the invisible stitch actually. I tell a lie, because you're not meant to be able to see it when it's done. Be like that. You can't see it when it's done. We all know it's there, but when it's actually on a finished piece and you hand it to someone, they can't really see where it is. a fun stitch to learn. When I've got a better camera set up and a better camera, I'll do some of these things more in depth to show you. And up close so you can see what exactly is happening. This is the stitch that I use when I repair pretty much all of their toys. That's starting to slip out of sync with itself. That's because you can see we got one there. If we pull it, we'll instantly know which one to pull over here. Get it back on track with itself. Let's just do this. Give it. Couple more. One more actually, and then we'll tie it off and send it in on itself. When I say send it in on itself, we're going to send it in where it's come out. Down a little bit, it can come out anywhere really. Pull it a little bit and let it disappear in on itself. There we go, we got a little bone toy for one of my girls. So we'll leave that there for a second. I'm going to pause for a moment. We'll leave that there as well because we can use that. And I'm going to check the project that I'm cooking in the oven. And when we come back, we'll have a look at how we can turn what's left into a skull. See you in a second. Or actually, we might wrap this up, make that part 2. So, move this all over for a second. We'll have this end of part 1. So, to keep things in tradition, you stuck to the U, I do not know. Thank you so much for coming and having a little look, see what I'm up to today. A little toy bone in the Halloween theme for one of my girls. I hope you've enjoyed. I hope you've found it very least interesting to see it just made out of a little old scrap of material, a bit of thread, a bit of stuffing, and a lot of rambling from me. So yes, thank you so much. Take care.